Why am I even building this thing? I don't even have an elytra yet. This is just dumb. So in the last episode we built this amazing starter base and did quite a lot. But we are still on the early game phase. We have some decent diamond tools, but it's not enough. This has to change. Meaning we are going to build an iron farm and find a way to enchant the rest of my gear. I have something in mind, but more about that later. Okay, the first plan of action is to find a location and get the villagers. I decided this hill near the snow village we found in the last episode will be perfect because it is close to my base and it fits the requirement for my future mega base. Although this area is great, we still have some issues. First, we need a flatter area than this, and another is all of these trees, yeah, they have to go. Thus, I grab my diamond axe and start chopping trees, one after another. It was fun in the beginning, and then it got repetitive really quickly. But on the positive, we are getting a lot of wood, which is going to be really useful in the future. After hour or so of work, I cleared a decent amount of the area. Later along the series, we need to clear a bigger portion of the forest. But for today, this should be enough. However, we are not done yet. We need to flatten the top. We don't need to go too deep. I guess 5 or 6 blocks should be enough. This process was way better than chopping the trees because I don't have to hop from one area to another. And it also instant mine. And one really dead shovel later, we are here. Which is good, but not enough. So I started placing some of the dirt I just mined to make a bigger platform. And because the area underneath is going to be hollow, I spam a bunch of torches to mock-proof the surface. This allowed me to freely place dirt without worrying about creeper blowing me up. I thought the process of clearing the area would take way longer than this, but it was not that bad. But what's coming next scares me. And after another 30 minutes of work, we're done. Now that we have an area to build a farm, next step on my list is to get 2 villagers and start producing more from them. And thanks to my brilliant plan, we have an easy way to get those villagers. But what's not a brilliant plan was to craft all my iron into rail without thinking we need minecart to transport the villager. Luckily, I found some iron in these small water-filled cave. I guess they are called aqua cave. However, after bringing 2 villagers totally with their permission to the area where they will spend rest of their life in a 1x1 luxury house, I tossed them some carrot and they started making more babies for me. The structure of the iron farm is quite simple and I already have most of the blocks required to build it, apart from iron for hoppers and lava, which are not hard to find. Now, while the villagers are busy making more villagers, I started working on the structure. I completed within a day or so. I told you it was easy, but guess what's not easy? Working with villagers. It took me more time to move these villagers into their cells than the entire building process. But at the end, I found this really easy trick which simplifies this by a margin. You just have to place the working bench in front of their cells and make sure there is no way for them to go outside of the farm, and just let them go and wait for them to walk in front of the workstation, and then you just simply place a block behind them. Simple. This would be way easier if I knew that earlier. But now that the farm was ready, let's run it. I did a AFK test and it was working really good. And only an hour of AFKing, we already have a decent amount. Now that one of the 2 goals I set for myself is complete, we can move to the second one, which is to enchant my tool. My initial plan was to use villagers to get experience, and then I realized that's going to be a really boring task and has multiple steps. But then it hit me. Let's build a mob farm. I have to build one in the future, why not now? I already have a bunch of wood which we can convert into more blocks. The only problem that I have was scaffolding. More specifically, strings, because I already have bamboo from the last episode. And then the search for string began. The iron farm does produce string, but in really slow rate. I got like a stack for 3 hours of AFKing, so I looked for another method, which led me to a mineshaft, where I not only collect cobwebs, but also fought the worst mob in the game, apart from baby zombies, the cave spider, for some extra strings. And now we should have everything we need. And boy, I was wrong. Okay, the farm will be built above the ocean, and the nearest one from here is around 1000 blocks away. So it will be best to build a nether tunnel. For that reason, I collected some obsidian and began moving this portal, without realizing I don't have anything to light another one. Now, if I were in a hardcore world, I would have looked for a nether portal with flint and steel or fire charge. However, building this road will save a huge amount of time later on, and it was not even that hard. I just mined in a straight line. Now that we have a way to go back and forth from my house and the mob farm, we should start building the structure itself. The build does not have a lot going. It's just a bunch of spawning floor connected to a long tube. But still, really painful to build, mainly because I don't have any elytra. However, the process of building the floor goes like this. First you build a giant floor, then you put wall around it. Next you place scaffolding all over the floor, apart from the corners. Because in the corners you place some temporary blocks and then add water on top of them. And finally replace the temporary block with scaffolding. I will say first layer was the hardest. It took me like half an hour and a lot of fall, but then I slowly got hang of it and it became a lot faster. But midway through the building process I realized the center need to be 3 by 3, not 2 by 2. It's not gonna break the farm but should reduce the rate significantly thanks to the spiders. Speaking of spider, I ran out of scaffolding, but I already built 5 out of 6 floors, meaning we need only a stack of string. I was thinking of using the farm to collect the strings, so I blocked the opening and spawn-proofed the top layer and AFK for a while. But because I was AFKing, the spiders that fall were climbing back up, reducing the mob rate by a lot, which made me realize we need to make a lot of changes, like adding a trident killer and build a roof out of tinted glass, because somehow it increased the rate of farm. So I decided to collect all the resources at once to make the process a little easier, I guess. The hardest should be tinted glass, but luckily there were some geode right underneath my base and the island golem farm. So I raided them and got a decent amount, but not enough. So I decided to AFK the iron farm for not only amethyst but also for the string. It's like killing 2 birds with 1 arrow. And 3 hours later we could take 2 items out of our list. Next is the trident, which should not take too long. I was wrong. I killed like 7 trident holding rounds and got nothing. Then the next 3 rounds I kill, 2 of them drop a trident, which means I have an extra to play with. And the final thing we need should be coral fangs, and I know where a coral reef is, but I don't have a tool with silk touch on it, meaning I have to AFK at the farm and enchant my diamond hoe. And I got it first try, which was amazing. From there I traveled around 1000 blocks to a coral reef and farmed bunch of it. I don't know what it is. Seeing these coral reef is inspiring me to build a ocean theme base, maybe in the future. First was to put the coral fang on all of the opening. I was worried that mobs would drop on me, worse being creeper, but nothing like that happened. Apart from that, rest of the final floor took only like 15 minutes, which is like quicker than the first. But we are not done yet. Next is to add a trident killer. Keep in mind whatever I'm doing right now is not pre-planned, and I was winging it, meaning a lot of trial and error. But at the end it all worked out, apart from some points where I want to quit the farm and build something else. But I'm glad I didn't, because I love this farm. It works great and should produce some valuable stuff. And after finally adding a storage, this farm should be finished. It was not, because some spiders were glitching out, nearly killing me while I was testing the farm. I played with this problem in a copy of the world for an hour or so. The fix was really simple. Just needed to double layer the trident killer so they don't glitch again. Now that the farm was ready, I grabbed the tools and started enchanting. I was not keeping a track of time, but I enchanted like 8 tools. It took me like an hour, maybe more, maybe less, who knows. But I pretty much got max gear, apart from efficiency on my tools and some enchantments on my armor. But enchanting and repairing my tools put a huge dent on my wealth. I don't even have a single diamond. So then I decided to do an hour-long mining session, dividing into 10-minute sets to make the process more interesting. On my first set I got 15 diamond, which is not bad. On my second run I got 30, double the first time. But third, I got 61 diamond, which was the maximum amount I got. And for the final 3, I got 36 diamond combined. So it's not guaranteed how much diamond you can get in 10 minutes. But at the end, it was quite a successful mining trip. We got ton of lapis, gold, redstone, and most importantly 2 stacks of diamonds. However, returning to the mob farm because I wanted to check the rate of the farm. So I hold my looting sword and AFK for 2 hours while I was scrolling through YouTube shorts. And this is what I got, which is great considering we are on bedrock. Combining this with what I have earlier, we nearly have a sulker of gunpowder. The AFK test also gave quite a few experience, which I used to enchant my bow, my trident, which is quite broken by the way, meaning we need mending. So I returned home, crafted a lectern and start re-rolling villager trade for the book. And thanks to the mod called Trade Helper, it was not that hard to get one. But it is 34 emerald. So, and finally repaired my trident at the mob grinder. Thanks for watching.